Hello, this is Mr. Yoshii. Thank you for tuning into Lesson 1.1 on percents. Let's begin. So, let's just say our first question is, if I have 100% of something, how much of it do I have? Okay, well, if I get 100% of my test correct, what does that mean? Well, that means that I got all of it correct, right? If I have 100% of something, that means I got all of it. Well, what if now in the second problem I have 50% of something? How much of it do I have? Okay, well, how much of it do I have? Do I just have a little bit, a lot of it? Well, hopefully we could tell me what fraction that is. I would have half of it. Right? I don't think that's any surprise, but the question is, how did I get from 50% to 1/2? Because don't you think it's kind of strange if I said, okay, I have 50 of it. Just by saying 50 of it, do you immediately think 1/2? I hope not. Just saying 50 of it could be 50 airplanes, it could be 50 people, right? It could be anything. But the moment I say 50% of it, then suddenly you think, oh, that's the same thing as saying half of it. Huh. How on earth do I know that 50% becomes a half? Well, before we go there, the idea is very interesting. What I want you to think is that percents tells me what fraction of the total I have. Sorry, total. Okay. So again, percent tells me what fraction of the total I have. Alright, so I have percent, 50%, but that's just telling me what fraction of it, of anything, that I have. So just keep that in mind. Let's do a concrete example, right? But I want you to connect percent and fraction. Let's go over here. So this problem is talking about Miriam. So let's have Miriam read it for us. Miriam, can you read it for us?
No problem, Mr. Yoshii. Miriam is sharing part of her candy. She decides to share 50% of her candy. What fraction of the candy did she give away?
Okay, thank you, Miriam, for reading it. So, right now, we start with 50%. And she's giving away 50% of it. Okay, well, we know, right, from previous times, I hope, that percent means over 100 or divide by 100. So we're going to write 50% as 50 over 100. Okay, what goes into both 50 and 100? Definitely 50. That's my greatest common factor. So 50 divided by 50, I get 1. 100 divided by 50, I get my 2. And that's where I get my half. So you could see that percent, right, is the same thing as talking about a fraction. Right? 50% just means I have half of something. What is that half? Well, this is talking about half of the candy that Miriam is giving away. Okay, well, graphically, what does that look like? Well, if this bar represents the total candy that she has, that means that she's only giving away 50% of it, or half of it. Right? This is my other half. Right? She's only giving away half of it. So how about the next one? It says, if instead... Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Let me have somebody else read it. Prince? Can you read it for us?
No problem, Mr. Yoshii. If instead she gave away 75% of her candy, what fraction did she give away?
Okay, thank you, Prince. Your voice was a little bit high, but that's okay. So now she's giving away 75%. So like we said, percent just means divide by 100. So I'm just going to rewrite this as 75 over 100. So what goes into both 75 and 100? 25. So therefore when I divide it, I get 3/4. Okay, so that means if I'm giving away 75%, that's the same thing as saying giving away 3/4 of the candy. Okay, not too bad. Right, so again, percent is just saying the same thing as a fraction of something. So if I go over here and now, let's just say I know how many candies she has. Well, from the first problem, I was talking about 50% she was giving away. Well, if she has 20 pieces of candy and she's giving away 50%, right, we don't really have to do the math. That's obviously 10 candies. But mathematically, what would we do? We would say, okay, I want to give away 50% of the 20 candies. Right? I'm giving away 50% of the 20. Well, what do we say 50% means? Well, it just means that I'm giving away a fraction of the 20 candies. Well, what fraction of the 20 candies am I giving away? I'm giving away half of the 20. But how do I rewrite of? Of means multiplication. So I want to give away a half of 20. And we could write this as over 1, and we could cross cancel, so this becomes 1, this becomes 10. So how many candies is she giving away? Just like we said, 10 candies. Okay, no biggie. But how about if we go and do this one? Right before, now we had 75%. What do we say 75% represents? It represents 3/4 of the candy. So, if Miriam is giving away 75% of 20 candies, how do I write that? Okay, so again, 75% just means a fraction. So, she's giving away a fraction of 20 candies. What's that fraction? 3/4 of 20. I could put that over 1. Again, this cross cancels. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 3 times 5, I get 15. 1 times 1, I get 1. So therefore, I get 15 candies. So she's giving away a total of 15 candies. Alright, so with that said, let's try a problem on our own. So let's have another person read this. Maybe Nayeli? Can you please read this for us? Okay, no problem. Miriam has 60 pieces of candy. How many candies will she share if she gives away 20% of her candy? How about if she shares 90% of her candy? Okay, so thank you, Nayeli. Please pause this for a second, and maybe you could work on it for a little bit. I said pause it. Okay, so let's do this problem. So, if I want to first work with 20%, right, so if I want 20% of 60 candies, right, how do I write that? Well, this is just a fraction of 60, so I would write 20 over 100 of 60. And there's multiple ways of approaching this. I could simplify this fraction, or I could cross cancel, whatever you want to do. But the first thing I would like to do is maybe divide the top and bottom by 10. And that's the same thing as canceling the zeros. And now I see that there's a 10 in the denominator, 60 on the top. So how many times does 10 go into 10? 1 time. 10 go into 60, 6 times. Now I horizontally multiply. I have 2 times 6, 12, 1 times 1, 1. So therefore, Miriam is giving away 12 candies. Awesome. Well, how about if we're doing 90%? Okay, well, I'm giving away 90%, or Miriam's giving away 90% of 60 candies. Okay, so again, this means I'm giving, or she's giving away a fraction of 60 candies. A fraction of 60. So what's that fraction? That fraction is 90 over 100, right? A fraction of 60. So again, I'm just going to divide by 10 so the zeros would cancel. And then again, 10 goes into 10 1 times, 10 goes to 60 6 times, 9 times 6 gives me 54. 1 times 1 is 1. So therefore this time, she's giving away 54 candies. Okay, so hopefully that made some sense, right? This is just the very, very beginning. This is only lesson 1.1. So please try the problems that I give you for homework. Good luck.